Okay, we're about to dive into a seriously counterintuitive idea. It's this. In our constant race to make everything easier, what if we're actually losing something? Something essential. This is all about the power of what's called strategic inefficiency. I mean, think about your daily life, right? One click, and boom, a package is already heading your way. There's zero friction, not even a moment for a second thought. Or, hey, what about this? That endless scroll on your phone, a perfectly designed feed of content just to keep you hooked. Your thumb barely have to lift a finger, literally. And now it's getting even crazier because even the act of creating is becoming totally frictionless. You need an email, a report, heck, even a new idea, and AI can just spit it out for you in seconds. So yeah, there's no denying it. We are living deep in the age of convenience. It feels like the entire goal of so much modern tech is just to pave over every bump in the road, to remove any and all obstacles between I want that and I have that. But, and this is the big question at the heart of all this, what if all this ease, this lack of friction, has a hidden price tag? In our relentless chase for a totally smooth world, what are we accidentally leaving behind? So let's talk about that hidden cost. Because when everything becomes effortless, when there's absolutely no resistance in our lives, we start to lose something incredibly valuable. Well, it turns out this problem actually has a name, cognitive atrophy. And really, it's just a simple biological fact, right? If you don't use a muscle, doesn't matter if it's in your arm or in your brain, it gets weaker. A life without any challenge, well, it leads to a weaker mind. Let me put it this way. Think about your brain's ability to navigate or to remember things or to think critically. All of those are like cognitive muscles. So when your GPS does all the navigating for you or when autocomplete finishes all your sentences, those muscles just don't get a workout. It is the classic use it or lose it situation, but for your brain. Okay, so what's the fix? What's the solution here? Well, this brings us to a really fascinating idea from a thinker named Albert Tan. He calls it the theory of voluntary friction, and it's his direct answer to this whole problem of cognitive atrophy. And honestly, his whole philosophy is captured perfectly in this one quote. He's basically arguing that in a world where everything is just handed to us on a silver platter, the only way to find real purpose, real meaning, is to intentionally go looking for some resistance, to find that friction for ourselves. Now, his entire theory isn't some complex rulebook. Nope. It's built on one single, super powerful belief about how we humans work. And this is it, right here. The core idea is that struggle isn't a bug in the system. It's a feature of a meaningful life. Think about it. We just don't truly value things that come too easily. It's the effort, the challenge, the struggle. That's what gives things value. But look, this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's actually a practical framework you can use. So the question is, how do we actually put this stuff into practice? It's all about learning how to design what you might call good struggle. Now, we have to be super clear about something here. This is not about just making your life miserable for no reason. There is a huge difference between pointless hardship, like your Wi-Fi dying during an important meeting, and strategic inefficiency. Strategic inefficiency is an intentional choice to take on a challenge because you know it's going to build you up and has some kind of meaning to it. And the process for doing this, it's actually surprisingly simple. First step, you just look at your life and find something that's become a little too easy, a little too optimized. Step 2, you deliberately choose a slightly harder, maybe less efficient way to do that thing. And then, step 3, you just embrace that little bit of struggle, knowing that it's basically a workout for your brain. Okay, so what does this actually look like in the real world? Well, instead of automatically turning on your GPS, maybe you try to navigate a familiar route from memory. Or instead of typing out a first draft on your laptop, try writing it by hand. It forces you to slow down, to think differently. And as AI makes more and more things seamless, it's on us to find these little ways to add back some of that good friction to keep our own minds in shape. All right, so let's zoom out and bring this all home. Why does any of this matter? Why should we consciously choose the harder path sometimes, in the grand scheme of things? Because in a way, it's a small act of rebellion. Our whole culture is obsessed with chasing ease, with being passive. When you choose difficulty, you are actively choosing to be engaged. You're flipping the script. You stop being just a consumer of convenience, and you become a designer of your own challenges. And the payoff for this? It's absolutely huge. For one, you're protecting your brain from that cognitive atrophy we talked about. You're building real mental resilience. So when unexpected bad friction comes along, you're way more prepared to handle it. And maybe most importantly, you're injecting a sense of purpose back into a world that can sometimes feel way too passive. So at the end of the day, strategic inefficiency isn't about making your life harder just for the sake of it. It's about designing a life that keeps you sharp, keeps you engaged, and keeps you strong. It's about intentionally creating the challenges that help you grow. So, I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Take a look at your own life, your daily routines, the things you do on autopilot. Where have things gotten maybe a little too easy? Where could your life use just a little bit more of that good, meaningful friction?